Hello dear students, in this video we are going to learn about the topic that is solubility and particle size, means the effect of particle size on solubility. What is the effect of particle size on solubility? You know very well, if the particle size is less, then it will dissolve more in a solvent, more in solvent when compared to the bigger particles. Okay, right, it is less in solvent. Okay, right. Generally, if you crush the solid particles, then they will dissolve rapidly when compared to the big sized particles. Okay, the solubility is more when the particle size is less, and the solubility is less when the particle size is high. So it is very clear, the solubility is inversely proportional to the particle size. It is inversely proportional to the particle size. So what is the meaning of this? If the particle size is less, solubility is high. If the particle size is high, then the solubility is less, means the solubility is inversely proportional to the particle size. Okay, generally Gibbs treated the relation between the solubility and the particle size in a thermodynamic point of view. Next, another scientist, Thomson, worked out the relationship between the particle size and the solubility. Next, Oswald applied the Gibbs-Thomson relationship. Here, Oswald applied the Gibbs-Thomson relationship to various systems. Then Freundlich deduced the relationship as RT by M ln S2 by S1 equal to 2 sigma by rho into 1 by R2 minus 1 by R1. So here you can find out the 4 scientists totally. First, Gibbs treated the relationship between the solubility and the particle size from a thermodynamic point of view, and Thomson worked out the relationship. Next, Oswald applied the Gibbs-Thomson relationship to various systems, and Freundlich deduced the relationship between the solubility and the particle size as RT by M ln S2 by S1 is equal to 2 sigma by rho 1 by R2 minus 1 by R1. Here S1 and S2 are the solubilities of spherical particles of radii R1 and R2. Here Freundlich assumed that the particles are in spherical shape. So S1 and S2 are the solubilities of the spherical particles having the radii R1 and R2. And next M is the molecular weight of the substance, and rho is the density of the solid, and sigma is the surface tension at the solid and liquid interface. But another scientist, Enestam and Turkevich, make a correction for particles that are cubes. So according to Freundlich, the particles are in spherical shape, but according to Enestam and Turkevich, they made a correction for particles that particles are cubes but not spheres. Okay, and consider very small particles size r, the size of macrocrystal with size r2 becomes negligible. Hence this formula will be converted to RT by M ln SR by S. Here S2 is the solubility of the particle size R, SR by S1, that is S, that is equal to 2 sigma by rho into 1 by R. 1 is negligible and only R is considered. So where SR is the solubility of the particle size R. Then May and Kolthoff verify this above expression and concluded that the particle size is inversely proportional to the solubility. They proved this conclusion by performing an experiment. That is, they wanted to analyze the lead and chromate ions individually in freshly prepared lead chromate and aged precipitate of lead chromate. Aging is the process. I will discuss it later. What is aging process? Okay, right. After aging process, the precipitate of lead chromate is analyzed by these two scientists, May and Kolthoff. Okay, right. In freshly prepared lead chromate, this lead chromate is dissolved completely and quickly with high solubility because of its small sized particles in freshly prepared lead chromate. But in aged precipitate of lead chromate, the solubility is very low because of its high particle size. Okay, so they concluded that if the particle size is less in lead chromate, then they will be dissolved more quickly, but in the case of aged precipitates, the particle size is high, hence the solubility is very low when compared to this freshly prepared lead chromate. And they concluded that freshly prepared lead chromate is 1.7 times has greater solubility than that of the aged lead chromate. Okay, in next we are going to discuss about what is aging process. Next, aging. Generally, aging is nothing but shaking of the precipitate after it is obtained in a supernatant liquid at a higher temperature or room temperature. So aging is just shaking of the precipitate in supernatant liquid at higher temperature or at room temperature. Okay, generally aging is a process of all irreversible changes that occurred in a precipitate after it has been formed. Generally, in fact, it is not possible to predict the size of the precipitate under given condition of precipitate. Why? Because under given conditions we cannot predict the size of the precipitate, because under ordinary conditions of the precipitation the supersaturation is very large. By adding the precipitant to a hot solution, it is somewhat possible to obtain big radii crystals. Because of greater solubility of the precipitate, thus crystal growth is increased. Why? Because the size of the particle depends on two points. First one, the formation of nuclei, and the second one, the rate of growth of nuclei. So I think it is very clear to you. The size of the particle depends on two main points. First point is the rate of formation of nuclei, and the second point is the rate of growth of nuclei. Generally, by adding the precipitant is the reagent which is used to form a precipitate to a hot solution. It is somewhat possible to obtain big radii crystals because of greater solubility of the precipitate. Thus crystal growth is increased. Okay, generally preparation of precipitate from relatively concentrated solutions, the supersaturation is very large. If the supersaturation is very large, then there is a formation of the rate of formation of nuclei is high when compared to rate of growth of nuclei. Then the precipitate contains very small radii crystals with imperfect shape. So in such cases, the primary precipitate is subjected to digestion at 100 degrees Celsius. Means you need to soluble the precipitate at 100 degrees Celsius. Then the imperfect crystals are converted to perfect crystals by successive recrystallization. So sometimes this recrystallization is also occur at room temperature. Generally this process is termed as aging process. Okay, is it clear or not? So initially here by adding the precipitant to a hot solution, it can produce big radii crystals with perfect shape, because at hot condition they can produce big radii particles. But in the precipitation process from relatively concentrated solution, the supersaturation is high, hence the rate of formation of nuclei is high when compared to rate of growth of nuclei. That is the reason why they can produce small radii crystals with imperfect shape. So in that case you need to digest the precipitate once again at high temperature, that is at 100 degrees Celsius. Then imperfect crystals are converted to perfect crystals. This process is called as recrystallization process. I will explain it in next time. Okay, right. Then sometimes such a recrystallization also occur at room temperature. Generally this process is termed as aging process. Okay, right. So finally, what is aging? What is aging? Aging is a process in which the freshly prepared precipitate is placed or shaking with supernating liquid at higher temperature or at room temperature. Okay, right. Now, mechanism of recrystallization in aging process. What is happening in aging process? What is the mechanism? Okay, in recrystallization occur because the primary particles are very small. When should you do aging process? Whenever the primary particles are very small and have a greater solubility than the macrocrystals, and the content of ionic and non-ionic impurities incorporated in the lattice is large. These impurities enhance the tendency of recrystallization. Generally, because of the impurities, which type of impurities? Ionic impurities and non-ionic impurities which are present in the precipitate, which contains less sized particles, they have high solubility in the solvent. So what is recrystallization process? What happens here? The process of recrystallization can be explained by the below example. Let me give you the example. The contaminating ions are freely soluble in mother liquor. This point is very important. The contaminating ions are freely soluble in mother liquor. Contaminating ions means which are impure ions present in the precipitate and leave upon spots in the surface of lattice. Generally, what is the shape of crystal? Generally, it may be cubic shape. For our convenience, I wish to give you this example by taking a cubic crystals. Okay, let me take the cubic crystals. Okay, right. So let it be the crystal shape. Okay, the ions may present in the corners. Okay, and impure ion may present in this corner. So because of the impurities present, let it be also impurity. So because of these two impurities, as they dissolved in mother liquor, then they lose the shape. They lost the shape of the crystal. So they will be dissolved. So hence what happens? They lose the crystalline shape. They lose the shape. Okay, right, and leave upon spots in the surface of the lattice. The remaining lattice ions are not subjected to the electrostatic force. So remaining ions, they lose the electrostatic forces of attraction between the ions. Why? Because ఇక్కడ ఏమైనాయి, ఇవి లాస్ అయిపోయినాయి కదా. ఇవి లాస్ అయిపోవడం వల్ల వీటి మధ్య ఉండే ఎలక్ట్రోస్టాటిక్ అట్రాక్షన్ ఫోర్సెస్ కూడా ఏమవుతాయి, రిలీజ్ అయిపోతాయి. సో ఆటోమేటిక్గా టోటల్గా ప్రెసిపిటేట్ ఏమవుతుంది, డిజాల్వ్ అయిపోతుంది. ఓకే, ఎలక్ట్రోస్టాటిక్ ఫోర్స్ డ్యూ టు ద మిస్సింగ్ ఆఫ్ ఇంప్యూర్ నైబరింగ్ అయాన్స్ ఫ్రమ్ ద క్రిస్టలిన్ సర్ఫేస్. ద సర్ఫేస్ లాటిస్ అయాన్స్ ఆర్ హెల్డ్ లైట్లీ ఇన్ ద లాటిస్ దాన్ ద లాటిస్ అయాన్స్ ఇన్ ద కోర్. ఈ సర్ఫేస్ అయాన్స్ ఏమైనాయి, ఇది లాస్ అయిపోయింది. లాస్ అయిపోవడం వల్ల వీటి మధ్య కూడా ఏమవుతుంది, ఆ బాండ్ అనేది వీక్ అయిపోతుంది. ఓకేనా, రైట్. Thus these ions gets into the solution by electrostatic force of the solvent. సో అప్పుడు ఏమవుతాయి, ఈ ఈ ఈ ఎలక్ట్రోస్టాటిక్ ఫోర్సెస్ అనేవి లాస్ అవ్వడం వల్ల సాల్వెంట్ ఏం చేస్తుంది, ఆటోమేటిక్గా ఆ సాల్వెంట్ అనేది ఎలక్ట్రోస్టాటిక్ ఫోర్సెస్ని అప్లై చేసి సాల్వెంట్ డిజాల్వ్ చేసుకుంటుంది. ఓకే, బై ద డిజపియరెన్స్ ఆఫ్ దీస్ అయాన్స్ ఏ సెకండ్ ఇంపర్ఫెక్ట్ లేయర్ ఈజ్ ఎక్స్పోజ్డ్ టు సాల్వెంట్. సెకండ్ లేయర్ కూడా అలాగే ఎక్స్పోజ్ అవుతుంది టు ద సాల్వెంట్, విచ్ ఇన్ టర్మ్ పార్టిసిపేట్ ఇన్ ద సేమ్ రియాక్షన్ అండ్ గోస్ ఇన్ టు ద సొల్యూషన్. అలా లేయర్స్ మొత్తం డిజాల్వ్ అయిపోతాయి. సో వెన్ ద ప్రైమరీ పార్టికల్స్ ఆర్ రిలేటివ్లీ ప్యూర్, the larger particles grow at the cost of the smaller one. This process has been known as Ostwald ripening. So ee process ni emantam manam, it is called as Ostwald ripening. Thus on aging, recrystallization takes place through ripening. On the other hand, foreign constituents which form solid solutions with the precipitate may incorporate during the aging process. For example, potassium permanganate forms solid solution if it is in contact with the barium sulfate. Okay, this is the mechanism of recrystallization process. Okay, మీకు అర్థమైందో లేదో ఇంకొకసారి మళ్ళీ నేను ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేస్తున్నాను. సో రీక్రిస్టలైజేషన్ మెకానిజం. ఓకే, ట్రై టు అండర్స్టాండ్. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్, సో ఇనీషియల్గా ఇంపర్ఫెక్ట్ క్రిస్టల్స్ అనేవి ఫామ్ అవుతున్నాయి. ఇంపర్ఫెక్ట్ క్రిస్టల్స్ అంటే ఇంపర్ఫెక్ట్ షేప్ ఫామ్ అవుతుంది. అంటే పర్ఫెక్ట్గా క్యూబిక్ షేప్ అనేది ఉండదు, ఇంపర్ఫెక్ట్ షేప్ ఉంటుంది. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్, ఇక్కడ ఒక ఇంప్యూరిటీ అయాన్, ఇక్కడ ఒక ఇంప్యూరిటీ అయాన్ ఉంది. రిమైనింగ్ ప్యూర్డ్ అయాన్స్ ఉన్నాయనుకుందాం. ఇక్కడ ఒక ఇంప్యూరిటీ, ఇక్కడ ఇంకొక ఇంప్యూరిటీ ఉందనుకున్నాం, రిమైనింగ్ ఉన్నాయనుకుందాం. ఓకే, జనరల్గా దీన్ని సాల్వెంట్లో డిజాల్వ్ చేస్తే ఏమవుతుంది, జనరల్గా సాల్వెంట్లో ఈ ఇంప్యూర్డ్ అయాన్స్ అనేవి తొందరగా డిజాల్వ్ అయిపోతాయి. ఇక్కడ షేప్ ఏమైంది, లాస్ అయిపోతుంది కదా. ఇక్కడ అయాన్ డిజాల్వ్ అయిపోయింది, ఇక్కడ అయాన్ డిజాల్వ్ అయిపోయింది, ఇక్కడ అయాన్ డిజాల్వ్ అయిపోయింది, ఇక్కడ అయాన్ డిజాల్వ్ అయిపోయింది. సో టోటల్గా ఈ సాల్వెంట్ ఏం చేస్తుంది, ఈ ఈ క్రిస్టల్ షేప్ అంటే ఇంపర్ఫెక్ట్ క్రిస్టలిన్ షేప్లో ఉన్న అయాన్స్ని డిజాల్వ్ చేసేసుకుంది. సో ఆటోమేటిక్గా ఇక్కడుండే ప్యూర్ అయాన్స్ కూడా ఏమైపోతాయి, సాల్వెంట్లో డిజాల్వ్ అయిపోతాయి. అలా మొత్తం ప్యూర్ అయాన్స్, ఇన్ప్యూర్ అయాన్స్ మొత్తం డిజాల్వ్ అయిపోయిన తర్వాత నెక్స్ట్ కొంత టైంకి ఏమవుతుంది అని అంటే, ఈ ఇంప్యూర్ అయాన్స్ ఇంకేమీ కూడా క్రిస్టలిన్ ఫార్మేషన్లో ఇన్వాల్వ్ కాకుండా ఓన్లీ ప్యూర్ అయాన్స్ మాత్రమే క్రిస్టలిన్ షేప్ అనేవి ఫామ్ చేస్తాయి. సో అప్పుడు మనకి రీక్రిస్టలైజేషన్ జరిగి ప్యూర్ క్రిస్టలిన్ ప్రోడక్ట్ అనేది ఫామ్ అవుతుంది. దిస్ ఈజ్ ద మెకానిజం. ఓకే, దిస్ ఈజ్ ద mechanism of recrystallization. Okay, in this class we discussed about two topics. First one is solubility and particle size, and second one is aging process. Okay, thank you for your kind attention to this video.